When it comes to sad, pathetic things on the internet, I feel like I've seen it all. I'm like the Oracle from the Matrix. Nothing surprises me anymore. Yet, today I bore witness to something so tragically embarrassing on Twitch that it's making me reflect, and it's put me in a very somber state. I feel as though I'm at a funeral service. A streamer invited one of her mods to hang out with her in real life, and then did a stream that was an hour and 25 minutes of agonizing, miserable, inhumane torture. Waterboarding would have felt more pleasant for this mod, I imagine. She spends the entire stream basically just insulting him. He is the butt of every one of her jokes, and she kind of just reduces him to a spittoon for her and her chat to spit in and make fun of. Now, I think punching bags get treated with more respect than this guy did, and it only got worse the longer the stream went on. She had a donation goal where if the stream gave her $500, she would kiss him.
Oh god, fuck.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, one more shot, guys.
Dang.
If you ever want to get drunk really fast, just have to kiss Dilly, you'll be fucked up by the time the night's over.
That is soul-crushingly mean-spirited. That is downright diabolical. Saying if you want to get drunk, just try and kiss Dilly, you'll be fucked up by the end of the night. Saying that you have to be hammered to want to kiss this guy. And this is the attitude for the entire stream, so she makes it pretty clear that she can't really stand to be around him unless she is extraordinarily drunk, so the whole time she is drinking throughout the stream. They reach the donation goal, so now she's obligated to give him a little smooch.
Can't do it.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Can you come closer?
Okay, this close? Okay.
Yes!
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Can you pucker up? Pucker up!
This is I have small lips.
You just snotted on me. You just snotted on me.
This is why allergies.
You went, little snots went on my leg.
It did? I'm
Yes.
so sorry.
It's okay.
Oh my god.
Alright, come on.
Okay.
Sorry. I need to wash my mouth.
If I was watching a hostage video where someone had kidnapped my grandmother, threatening to slit her throat unless I paid the ransom, I would honestly find that video to be less cruel and more humane than this Twitch stream I just watched. This is absolutely brutal. My heart breaks for this guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he's done to deserve this, but this is like a divine punishment here. This whole thing was her idea. This was her donation incentive. And now she's acting like it was the worst thing that ever happened to her. It's so bad, she's got to go rinse her mouth out. She's got to fucking brush her teeth and scrub it all down with soap and bleach just to try and erase the stain that his lips put upon hers. It's just evil. This whole stream is her basically just bullying this guy.
Well. Jesus Christ. Well. Are you okay?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm back, guys. Sorry. I'm good. I'm good.
She's putting on this big song and dance about how gross and disgusting this was, when it was her idea. She's doing this just to make him feel even worse, and put on a show for her chat at this guy's expense. Like, oh, this loveless loser virgin flew all the way here, and oh, I just had to kiss him. Like, that's so mean. And this should be a wake-up call to her chat that, like, donates money to her under this idea that she's going to like them or something like that, or parasocially donating to her because they think that they're going to be friends or even more than that. This should be the biggest wake-up call. Your third eye should be fucking beaming from your forehead right now with this out there. This is her mod, someone who literally, like, does a ton for her. And this is how he's getting treated in front of everybody. That's what she thinks of you as well. Now, like I said, it's not just this viral moment here. The very beginning of the stream comes out fucking guns blazing, going hog wild about this guy having no shot with her and that she doesn't even really respect him at all.
Yeah, Dilly's living the dream. Aren't you so happy to be here?
Yeah. It's my dream, y'all.
Yeah, I've been posting pictures of Dilly every single day on Discord, and this guy cannot hang. Dilly's eyes are fucked. It's because I have cats and he's allergic, and he has allergy medicine. Doesn't he look like Gru from Despicable Me. Sorry, every time I see Dilly, I just start laughing.
This is the very beginning of the stream. This is chapter 1. It's not even chapter 1. This is the prologue. And she immediately comes out of the gate saying that he looks like Gru from Despicable Me, and she can't help but laugh when she sees him. The stream doesn't even make it 5 full minutes without her making sure to insult him in front of everybody. He's just getting publicly flogged immediately. She is flaying him alive throughout most of the stream. Again, this whole hour and 25 minutes is basically just make fun of Dilly, and let the chat make fun of Dilly too. It's so mean-spirited. And this guy, again, I don't know anything about him. He wasn't even creepy or weird or awkward. He seemed like just a very normal guy. He even seems pretty nice and really not weird. Yes, he does come across as like a little lonely and a little socially shy, but there's no like red flags or anything alarming about this guy at all. This must have been hell on earth for him to not only get invited out by the person that he clearly cares about since he mods for her, but to go there and then just be perpetually insulted directly by that person and the community that you mod for, having all these tomatoes thrown at you throughout the whole thing. And on top of all of that, be surrounded by cats which trigger his allergies. The misery must have been indescribable. Like, I'm getting parasocial with it because I actually just really do feel bad for him here. Like, brother, come on. Have some more self-respect. Have some more confidence. You deserve it. You deserve better than this treatment here. That was just so mean. Now, I already know the cope. I know what the excuse is going to be. Oh, she's clearly just pushing his buttons. They're just joshing around. They're very close friends, obviously. But I don't get that impression at all. These aren't jokes I would tell to even my best friend Matt, who I've known since middle school. A lot of what she says to and about Dilly is just downright nasty. I would never say to Matt, like, the only reason, you know, your wife ever kissed you is because she must have been blackout drunk and forgot what you looked like or something. That's just so fucked up. And, like, she makes statements like that pretty often throughout this stream. These aren't really jokes. She is just insulting this guy as much as possible to make him a laughingstock for her stream.
Cute couple, baby, you're not dating. I did not claim this.
Yo.
Sorry, that's so mean, but don't claim it. So yeah, 1 hour stream, so every minute counts. I made a donation goal, $500. I will kiss Dilly. So we hit it. But hopefully, I will be drunk for that. Let's take the first shot of the night, yeah? Is it too early?
No. Cheers.
The way she responded to the cute couple statement seemed like she was genuinely offended anyone would even say something like that. Now, keep in mind, she's still sober right here, so this is still her insulting him with the training wheels on. She hasn't even taken the gloves off yet. It gets really bad shortly after.
And I made all the boys go at Dilly to help change his pants. So I think Dilly threw away his chunky throat pants in the trash. Dilly had the same size hands.
No,
oh my god.
God.
You have baby hands.
No way.
Yeah, we have the same size hands. That means you have a small dick.
The astute observers out there will have noticed that I put the stream to 2x speed during her story times, and I'll openly admit to it. The reason is because it was genuinely painful listening to her tell those stories because it's just shitting on Dilly. She's putting him on blast as frequently as possible, sharing his most embarrassing moments, so giving his lowlights. Here's the worst of moments with Dilly. Here's what Dilly did that was so embarrassing last night. You guys need to hear this. It's just, again, so unnecessarily mean. And then, of course, she has to do something about penis size, so she says, we have the same size hands, which means you have a tiny dick. Your hands aren't even the same size. His hands are visibly bigger than yours, but again, this is just being rude for the sake of it. Nobody is meaner to tier 3 subs or Twitch mods than the streamer themselves, it seems. She is so much nastier to her mod than anyone on Twitter has ever been to any mod for any streamer ever. Now, there are a couple times in the stream that she says that they're good friends, so it's all, you know, in good fun. And what a load of dirty barnacles. I think she says that to try and convince Dilly, and Dilly, he believes it. Dilly's bought into that fantasy. This does not strike me as two people that are friends. This strikes me as her using him for content, as a punching bag. That's what this all seems like. No friend dynamic is like this. No friendship goes like this. Of course you're going to joke around with your friends. You're going to get mean with your friends, but at the end of the day, you're close and you know that there's no actual bad blood or malicious intent there. I do not get that vibe from this interaction at all, because it is unrelenting for an hour and 25 minutes, and what I'm about to show you here, I think is the most foul thing that she said throughout it.
Oh my god, so either go back with my ex or get with Tilly for 6 months. Fuck. Okay, so in case you guys know, or don't know, I don't want to say his name out loud. This ex fucking traumatized me. He had a gambling addiction, drug addiction, porn addiction. Like, he actually fucked me up, okay? So either go through like trauma and emotional abuse or date Tilly for 6 months. Trying to get back with my ex. Okay, next question. Is it true that
It's in 2 times speed because, again, she was going on a montage of degrading him. And then it got to that question. Would you rather get back with your ex, who apparently traumatized her, or date Dilly for 6 months? And she chooses her ex. And then just laughs it off. She would rather be in, I guess, this emotionally abusive situation that she called it, and be traumatized, than be with Dilly for 6 months. Why would you even answer this question in the first place? That is so fucked up. I was stunned when that came around. Like, she knows Dilly is clearly interested in her romantically, and yet she uses that as the butt of the jokes. Like, half of the stream is making it clear that she feels she is so out of his league, so superior to him, that the comedy is that people would even suggest there's a chance. So this question rolls around, and she's like, oh yeah, I'd definitely just go back with the ex. Definitely wouldn't go back, or go with Dilly for 6 months. I'd rather be emotionally abused than spend time with this guy. In front of his face, too. The guy who basically does work for you on your streams by modding, who has also now gone out of his way to hang out with you in real life, and on your stream for your content. And now he has to sit there and hear that you would rather be emotionally abused and traumatized than date him for 6 months. This guy who obviously cares about you. I can't even imagine what a statement like that must feel like to hear. And he has to keep himself composed because she's broadcasting all of this to her audience publicly. I've never met anyone that I've had any kind of relationship with, a friend or even an acquaintance, that has said something that even teeters on as mean as what she just did right there. And she did it right to the face of someone who very clearly cares a lot about her. Now, she laughs it off and moves on to the next question, and I think Dilly has been brainwashed by her into thinking that he's a good friend of hers. But Dilly, I'm just going to hit you with the cold water. Friends don't treat each other this way. She is treating you like a subhuman pile of garbage.
Me personally, I would not hit. So, yeah, there is a right or wrong answer. Well, me personally... How about you rate me first?
10 out of 10.
Oh, fuck, you know, I'm not gonna rate. I'm just gonna drink.
That means I'm a 6. It's okay.
If it was a 6, I would have said that out loud.
Oh.
Anyways.
Again, it's just an absolute flurry of disrespect from her towards Dilly. But I wanted to show this clip here at the end because I think this is a great summation of how this whole experience went, where he rates her a 10 out of 10, and then she refuses to rate him, so he playfully is like, oh, okay, that must mean like I'm a 6. And then she didn't have to say anything. She could have just moved on to the next question, but she went out of her way to let him know that that's not the case. So she says, if it was a 6, I would have said it out loud. Anyway, just trying to take another little stab, drive the dagger deep inside of his heart here to let him know that he is beneath her. He's not a 6 to her, and he needs to know it. It's so unnecessarily mean. It's just being an asshole and nothing more. She puts him down every chance she can find. She attacks every single one of his perceived weaknesses in her eyes, and is doing everything in her power to publicly humiliate and degrade him. It is not friendly. There is nothing jovial about this whole stream at all. It is mean-spirited and just really fucking sad. Like I mentioned, there was a couple of times she tried to cushion the blows, like, oh, we're such good friends, this is all okay. And then when one of the questions during Truth or Drink is, what was your favorite thing about Dilly? She says that he's nice, and that he's like just super nice and not awkward. Those are the only couple of instances where she wasn't just shitting on him. And I think she did that because she could see from the chat that people were dogpiling onto Dilly, and it is just a really uncomfortable stream entirely.
How likely is it for him to pick up a girl tonight?
You want to answer this honestly?
Honestly, you're not getting shit. I think maybe a girl be down to dance with you, you know?
That's a win.
But there's no way. I don't think you're getting any girls' numbers or going home with. I'm gonna say it's a 0 out of 10.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't bring anyone back here, but
I would let you. I'm a good friend, so if you wanted to bring a girl back here, you can.
Wow.
But I'm just being honest. I don't see it. Prove me wrong, though. You know, prove me wrong.
I was perfectly content to not show you any more clips from the stream. I was just about to end the video, but then I remembered this moment, and I just had to showcase it. Even if it's not directly about her, she won't even let him think he has a chance with any girl, for that matter. None. Like, he's not even allowed to go into the club with a good mindset. They're going to a club later this evening, and they were getting hype for it. Like, chat was asking, hey, do you think he has a chance with a girl? And this was her response to it. He's not even allowed to have a good mentality going into it because she's already shitting on him beforehand to bring his self-esteem down. It's just bullying. Like, she is just a bully to this guy. It just doesn't end. He's not allowed to breathe for a second, A, because of the allergies that he's subjected to, but B, because she is constantly this miasma of hate to him. Like, it's just so negative. If this was actually any semblance of a friend, she would have lifted him up like, yeah, you're gonna get some pussy tonight, let's go, let's have a good time out there tonight. That's not what she's doing. She's immediately putting him down. Again, for the millionth time this stream.
Who's better looking, Dilly or your ex? My ex. Next question. Do you ever have any feelings for any of your mods, including him? Hell no. That's why they're my mods.
Last clip from this stream, I promise, but I thought this was an important one. I have for a long time preached about how awful parasocial relationships are and how prevalent it is in streaming. I think hearing her say this should have snapped a ton of people out of that mentality that just by donating to somebody or modding for somebody in this case, that all of a sudden they're going to somehow develop feelings for you or something. Doesn't happen. It won't happen. And that is not a healthy mindset for you as a viewer to be in. I wanted to put this here because she just says it with her whole chest right in front of Dilly. Again, per usual here for this stream. But this is actually an important lesson to learn. Just because you mod for somebody or donate to somebody, if you're a tier 3 sub to somebody, if you've been sub to somebody for years, they are not all of a sudden your best friend, and they are not obligated to fall in love with you or have feelings for you. So, tough pill to swallow for some, I'm sure, but it needs to get through. Now, all that being said, what Dilly was subjected to here is nothing shy of heinous. Nobody deserves this level of public humiliation, and I feel extremely bad for him, and I'm just genuinely wishing him the best going forward. I just had to talk about this because it is one of the downright meanest and saddest streams I've ever seen on Twitch. Like, probably ever, I think. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. It's not often that there'll be a situation where an internet content creator gets accused of doing some heinous, deplorable, degenerate, sketchy garbage, and you're caught off guard by it. Most of the time, the stories play out with people you expect to be the likely suspect, like Logan Paul. When you hear that he's scamming his audience with Crypto.Zoo and not repaying them, you're like, you know what, that sounds about par for the course. That sounds about right. Of course, there are those rare times where it really comes out of nowhere, but it's never going to be something super shocking like Mr. Rogers just got revived from the dead and now he's beating children at a local elementary school or anything. But today, that's kind of how it feels, because a YouTuber that I've really respected for a long time was just accused of some pretty awful things in regards to how they handled their charity organization that they've done fundraising for the last 9 years. And there's a lot of evidence about this that has been put out there to the public now. So the situation is a YouTuber named The Completionist, who's been around for a very long time, whose content I am very familiar with, has just been put in the center of a huge controversy after an investigation was conducted by 2 other YouTubers whom I have a lot of love and respect for, Mudahar, Some Ordinary Gamers, and Carl Jobst. The 2 of them decided to team up like a beautiful buddy cop movie, forming the goddamn Avengers here, and they decided to dig into the financial reports that are publicly available for a charity that The Completionist owns called the Open Hand Foundation. It was started when his mother tragically passed away from dementia, and for the last 9 years has been gathering money to give to causes that will help in the battle against dementia. But what Carl and Muda found is that over the course of the last 9 years since it's existed, They haven't donated a single penny from any of their fundraising to any cause whatsoever. All of that money is still, well, most of that money is still sitting in the bank account for that charity. And despite this, over the last 9 years, they continue to raise money while telling the audience that's giving them the money that it's all being donated and it's being helped to fight against dementia. Even though the reality is none of that money has been sent anywhere. It is still in that account. Aside from some operating expenses that they've incurred, which they don't specify anything on, which is extremely fishy. And there's just so many things about this that have raised the alarm for many people internally here who have reviewed everything that Mutahar and Carl have presented and taken elsewhere. It's just, there's a ton of red flags. And they even do talk to the completionist directly during these videos. They interviewed him, and he also recognizes the problem. He admits to the problem. He can see how bad it all is, though I will say that his explanations for why it's in the state that it's in and what's happening here with this situation aren't very good. I don't think he does a great job of defending this in any way that makes any real sense. So the whole thing is extremely unfortunate. Now, he hasn't made a full official public statement yet aside from these interviews, but it's not looking very good. There's really not a whole lot of wiggle room for this just to be classified as like, you know, digging up dirt and drama on nothing, making a mountain out of a molehill. No, this is like pretty watertight evidence that they presented, and even the person at like the helm of it, the completionist, recognizes that, yeah, it's a huge problem, it's bad. So I'll boil this down for a lot of people that may have just seen like a bit of what's going on Twitter. So Mutahar and Carl, they worked together to investigate a YouTuber named The Completionist and his charity foundation. It's called the Open Hand Foundation. And basically, since it's a charity foundation, their records are public. So they can see what money comes in and what money goes out, like to charitable causes. Basically, they're a middleman. They take in donations, the charity that is, and it's all under the pretense that it's going to be donated to a benefactor that's going to fight against dementia, like come up with treatments, maybe a cure, anything to combat dementia. Mutahar and Carl decided to dig through their financials because, again, all of that's public. And what they found is since 2014, they haven't donated a single penny to any causes, anything at all. All of that money, it's like $600,000 and some change, is still just sitting in their account. Despite the completionist doing these charity fundraisers yearly and telling people where, you know, like the money's going here and there and it's being used to help people, this and that. Meanwhile, it has just been sitting in an account. And they interviewed him, and he also recognized, like, this is a problem. And there was a couple things he said that really didn't sit right with me, where he kind of made it seem like his biggest concern was his public image as a result of all of this. So he'd be like, maybe if I have to just take the L here, like, this isn't a take the L situation. If you've been misleading people with a charity's purpose and what it's been doing for all of these years, that's like a very big deal. Very, very big deal. It's not just like a, frivolous internet drama. So that's kind of the situation in a nutshell. He hasn't come forward with like a full statement on his own outside of the interview they did where he does own up to all of it, though he says it's not on purpose. He's just made a mistake. He was under the assumption that the money was being donated. Turns out it hasn't been, so it's just been sitting stagnant, collecting dust and cobwebs in the bank account for the charity foundation. And there was a lot of other really weird stuff, and I won't get into the weeds. I highly recommend watching either Mutahar's video or Carl's video on it where they go over it. But there are a lot of other weird things in there, such as the way that they report what money gets spent on like operational costs. There was just a lot of red flags. But the biggest thing is he continues to raise money for this charity. Everyone who donates believes that money is going towards the cause that he is promoting, like, hey, this money is being used to combat dementia, find treatments, this and that. That's where we're sending the money. It's not. It's just sitting in a bank account. So that's the big problem. It's just lying to the audience. Now, from everything they've reported, Mutahar and Carl haven't said that he's pocketing the money or anything like that. I know Dexerto ran a dog shit article claiming that that's what Mudahar and Carl were saying. They're not. They are not making the claim that the completionist or anyone on his team is taking that money for themselves. It's just since, again, all of the records are public, you can see that the money is still just in that account. It is still just sitting there for 9 fucking years. And it's because they can't find the right benefactor, which is a really weird excuse. That doesn't make a lot of sense at all. Didn't they have like 100K operating expenses? Something like that, which again, they don't report what the actual operating expenses were, like specifically, which makes them very vulnerable to an audit, which is something they talk about. It's just all very fishy. It's very poorly ran. Poorly ran is being extremely generous. There are so many things in here that don't make a lot of sense at all. I want to show you a clip from Carl's video, actually a couple clips from Carl's video.
Their website clearly states they support the UCSF, and they have a quote from David Kessler, the Dean of the UCSF School of Medicine, thanking them for their gift. But the interesting thing about David Kessler is that he was fired as the Dean of the UCSF School of Medicine in 2007, 7 years before OpenHand was even officially registered.
That's an extreme eyebrow raiser right there. To any detective worth their salt, they'd puff on their pipe, let out a big puff of smoke and say, "Baloney, what's happening?" and dig deeper, which is exactly what Carl and Mudahar did. Carl reached out to the organization to ask them why they haven't given any money over the last 10 or so years.
Which was written by Jacques Khalil, Gerard's brother. They claimed that before their official registration as a foundation, they donated body parts for research. A strange claim that I don't believe can be true of a charity. That's likely referring to a private and personal matter within their family and would have nothing to do with OpenHand. They claim they made financial contributions to an institution that made insufficient progress. Essentially, OpenHand is claiming that because they made donations before they were registered in 2014, which we cannot confirm because it wasn't public at the time, this means that it is acceptable to not pass along any of the money the public has given them until they find someone they deem worthy.
That's a lot to take in, so I understand if you need a moment to catch your breath and let all the juices marinate here. It's a very upsetting topic, with charitable causes turning out to be less than stellar, we'll say. It's always a very fucked up situation, but basically what is being claimed here from the completionist brother is that in the past, before OpenHand was registered, they donated body parts to the UCSF, and that's where that quote comes from. But, like Carl mentions, that has nothing to do with OpenHand, so why would you be using that quote on OpenHand's website? It's very misleading to people. If I'm someone that's donating to the OpenHand Foundation, and I'm seeing that quote, I'm assuming that this means the contributions are going to them. And here's them saying, thanks for all the support. But that's just not the case here at all. The money's not going anywhere, and that quote does not apply to donations that they're receiving from OpenHand. And going a bit further, the completionist brother is saying that they did give money in the past before they were registered, which Carl says they can't confirm since it wasn't public. But he's saying they gave money in the past, they didn't like the progress, they thought it was insufficient, so now they're just waiting for the perfect partner, the perfect benefactor to give the money to now. And it's been 9 years and they still haven't found it. So it's just incompetence, not malice. It's more than incompetence, though. It'd be like full-blown negligence to the point where it's like borderline illegal. I don't even know it'd be borderline. I think it would be just like straight up illegal if they get audited and they find all of these like big red flags. You can't just have a charitable organization make all of these claims about where the money's going. On their website, they even list like a university that they say that they're one of like the historic funders of or something to that effect, even though they haven't donated any money to any of those causes or anything in general. Like it's all very, very bad sounding. I'm very curious to see what the completionist will say about it outside of the interview he did here. I would really like to hear more from him on exactly what the fuck is going on and why it's in that place. And even more so, I'd love to hear from the completionist on why he continues to do these fundraising events and make the claims that the money going here and there and over there, it's going there, and even though the money's going nowhere. Why does he continue to mislead the audience into giving money under the belief that it's being sent to these different places when it's not?
If they've been looking for a beneficiary since 2014, why has Gerard been claiming they support organizations across the world, including the UCSF and the Alzheimer's Association?
We are raising money for dementia research in honor of my late mom, trying to help folks who've been impacted by dementia, working with organizations like USF, FTD Association of America, Alzheimer's Association of America, and so many more.
Why is he claiming the money is actually given to people who know how to use it?
And all that money goes to dementia research. We don't touch any of it. We just work with the people who do need the money, and we help them do their thing.
In this case, the negligence isn't hurting anyone. When I read things like that, like I just have to sit there and process it for a second. It takes a while to register just how you could actually believe that, like legitimately, or if you're just kidding. They've collected over $600,000 in donations from their community. Normal people, like you, like everyone in chat, donating under the idea, the belief, because they're being told that that money is being used to help against the battle, help in the battle against dementia. And it's not. It's just sitting in a bank account right now. So everyone who has donated money lost money, and it didn't go to the cause they thought it would. That they thought it would. That was the whole reason they donated the money, to go towards that cause, which it hasn't. It's been sitting there for 9 years. You see the British airline pilot that did cocaine off of a stripper before flight. That was probably the fastest flight in recorded aviation history. Those passengers got to their destination lickety-split. Just a very peculiar situation here, Jordan. Again, if you want, I just went over like the very basic. If you want to get into the weeds of it and really understand the situation, watch Mudahar's video or Carl's video covering this. They both go in depth, obviously, on all of it and talk about everything and exactly the implications and what's going on. And then I'm assuming the completionist will probably make some kind of public statement very soon because it is such a huge deal. And I'm very curious what exactly he's going to talk about. Because he was interviewed here, again. He did say his piece. It wasn't a very good piece, but I am curious where it goes from here. Again, I highly encourage all of you to watch Mudahar and Carl's video covering this subject for more information. There's just one other thing I want to briefly touch on here. For some reason, Muda and Carl were asked for recommendations on where they thought the money should go, and during the interview with the completionist Gerard, he was saying like, "I'll donate the money today. You just tell me where it should go." And that's so fucking weird. It's not their job to tell you where that money should go. It's your organization, and you have said where the money's supposed to be going and just haven't sent it there. So just to kind of repeat what Mudahar said, just send the money where you said it was going, like this whole time. It's that simple. They still have most of the funds, minus the 9 years or so of operational expenses they've incurred. So since that money is still just sitting there collecting cobwebs, it hasn't been like fucking thrown into, blackjack tables at the Hard Rock Casino or anything. It's still present. It hasn't just fucking poofed out of thin air and vanished. They can still donate that money to the causes they've said it's going to. Now, of course they should absolutely do that, but the question will always remain now, are they doing that because of this investigation that's put a lot of public pressure on them to do so? Or were they always going to do this at some point and this was just the final push they needed to finally get there? I'm not doing a good job of explaining the conundrum, but basically there's always going to be this doubt in the back of everyone's mind about their intentions regardless of what happens going forward. Was this charity from the very get-go designed to be a charitable fraud situation where they collect money from the audience, hold on to it for a really long time, and maybe gradually tap into it to use for their own expenses? Or maybe at some point they just take it all out for themselves and pocket it? Who knows now, because it's been 9 years and they still haven't donated a single dollar of what they've gathered. And I do think they are going to donate it now, but would they have if Mudahar and Carl didn't investigate this? Would they have ever donated this money if the investigation didn't happen? Who knows? Who's to say? Which is why it's always going to be this doubt in the back of people's mind on what actually was their goal with the foundation, if not to donate the money to the causes they said they were. This is super fucked up. I am extremely curious to see what the completionist is going to say about this going forward publicly. I'd really like to hear from his side a bit more on what exactly is going on. But it certainly doesn't look good, and this is a subject that really hits close to home for me. Many of you might remember for a long time I would donate all of the money I made on YouTube to various charities. Over time I realized a lot of the organizations that I was putting money into were not exactly the best and engaged in a lot of sketchy practices, and a lot of the money didn't go where they claimed it would. So charitable fraud is always something that I'm pretty passionate about. It's a really disgusting idea to take advantage of people's generosity and people's will to fight against something for the betterment of the people they care about, the rest of the world. Just taking advantage of people and exploiting their generosity is such a foul concept. And I really hope that's not what the goal of this organization was. I'm hoping this actually is just a case of them being not exactly prepared to run an organization with money of this caliber and just didn't know what to do with it or how best it could be used. I don't really know. There's not a whole lot of ways of looking at it positively, but yeah, I just had to go over this situation a bit because it's a pretty upsetting one. That's really it. So yeah, this is a topic that I've talked about on the podcast occasionally and sometimes on stream. But overall, I feel the entire lore and situation around Boogie2988 over the last 5 or 6 years has just been incredibly sad. But there was a documentary just released about him, which had Boogie's stamp of approval, his blessing. A documentary filmmaker by the name of Mike Klum spent the better part of 9 months filming Boogie and going over cataloging his life. I've watched a lot of documentaries throughout my 29 years on this space rock, and I feel like until the moon falls out of orbit crashing into the Earth, just as Roland Emmerich predicted in the classic Moonfall movie, I feel like this will remain one of the most perplexing documentaries I've ever watched, because I don't know why Boogie would agree to it. It makes him look so bad.
I took women on vacations, and I took them out to fancy dinners, and I took them to Disneyland and shit.
I'm not going to show you all the main components of the documentary. I just want to focus on 2 core ones here. If you're at all interested in the story of Boogie2988, I highly encourage you watch the whole documentary here. It's probably one of the most honest looks at anyone I've ever seen. Boogie is just an open and honest book here that's a little bit hard to read from because it is pretty eye-opening stuff. But anyway, his fall from grace on the internet is an extremely well-cataloged downfall. From the repulsive, awful things he said in the past to his manipulative tendencies and his behavior, all of it has led to Boogie going from a well-respected content creator to basically a joke, or someone that's looked at in disgust for his behavior. So, for those that don't know, Boogie is an OG YouTuber who was absolutely at the top of the game for a long time. He won a fucking award for being a nice guy in the gaming community, basically. They used to call him the Mr. Rogers of the internet. But then, Twitter and Reddit happened, and Boogie had this inability to shut up. He would constantly publicize the most foul opinions that he had about situations. He would always talk about the saddest and most depressing aspects of his life because it felt like he was addicted to being viewed as a victim. It felt like he loved the feeling of people viewing him as pathetic. And it's something I know he's touched on in the past that even has a level of self-awareness where he also recognizes how detrimental it's all been to his career and just downright self-destructive. But he just can't stop himself from just posting on Twitter every single private thing that should never be publicized to strangers, because he seems to just be enamored with that attention that he gets when he is viewed as someone to feel sympathy for at all times. And it's just a really weird and sad set of circumstances. However, after watching the documentary, I'm starting to believe he is just not a good person. I was always under the impression that buried deep down is a caring individual who had a good heart and good intentions and just got a little lost and confused along the way. But after seeing this and all of the worst aspects of his life that he just proudly highlights here, I just really am starting to think he's just not a good guy. So the first thing I want to show you is his addiction to sex workers. He has spent a pretty penny on paying for sex, as well as paying for vacations and stuff for the sex workers to accompany him, this and that. And it also gives an insight into the way he views women, which I think is a pretty repulsive perspective he has on a lot of it, at least from what he describes here. And one thing that becomes instantly recognizable is his sense of entitlement, which becomes a prevalent point throughout this entire documentary, where he believes that because he was a successful YouTuber, Anything he wants, he deserves. He should get. He is entitled to it.
It's not a revelation. I like beautiful women. I like to hang out with beautiful women, fuck beautiful women. We all do. I never got to do that. The women I dated were pretty, sure, but they were like Arkansas 8s, not LA 10s. With sugaring, I got to fuck some LA 10s, and I think that's cool. So I deserve to go to Disneyland with a beautiful girl, right? I deserve to go to New York and explore Times Square with a beautiful girl. Right? Like, I deserve that, and I want that, and I've never had it.
Why do you deserve that? Because you filmed your 20th Francis chugging Mountain Dew while pooping his pants and putting popcorn in a microwave video? Like, what? It's such a deranged mindset that he believes he is entitled to all of these women wanting to slobber on his meat because he is a famous YouTuber. He shouldn't be settling for an Arkansas 8. No, he deserves the LA 10s. So he pays for sex workers because Boogie deserves that top shelf pussy with the pinky out. And to me, this audacity is alarming. To me, this screams that he only views women as objects to be conquered sexually. He shouldn't be settling for something that's an Arkansas 8. That's beneath him. Have they looked at his subscriber count? No. What he deserves is the LA 10s. So he gets into the sugar baby community.
She's definitely a little thicker than I necessarily would always go for, but there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a 48-year-old man. I never got to fuck a model. This let me fuck a couple of models. Is that wrong?
A very important lesson to learn is nobody is entitled to anything other than a knuckle sandwich if you start calling me short. I'm kidding. You'd probably still beat my ass. But the point is, you don't deserve anything. To speak here like you deserve these women, you are entitled to these women because of your online success, is so delusional. And speaking of delusion, him criticizing the lady for being thicker than he would normally go for is just downright ridiculous and absurd. It just really seems like with the way he speaks about women throughout the documentary, he just views them as sexual props for his own pleasure. Really, that's the most important thing when it comes to women for him. He doesn't want to be caught dead with an Arkansas 8. Instead, it's all about the LA 10s, so that way he can fuck them. And that's what he cares about most when it comes to women. That's the impression I get listening to him talk about it. Now, this portion of the video isn't necessarily just focusing on his sex worker spending. It's talking about his reckless spending in general. At the height of Boogie's career, he was making so much money. Tons and tons, oodles of doubloons. And now, fast forward to today, he is fundamentally broke. He doesn't have any money to his name left. So it's going over where all of it went, and a large chunk went to paying for sex workers, as well as like gift cards that he would give them, which is crazy. When they broke down the financial spending, $500 was allocated for gift cards, which is a weird gift to give someone, and like $1,000 for a purse. So I guess he'd give them like a purse with like a GameStop gift card in there, like, hey, go get yourself something nice, toots. Maybe a couple Pokemon card packs, huh? Yeah, maybe a new video game or two. Like the whole thing is just all about his spending habits, which has left him in a financial crisis. All of which is his own fault, which he also recognizes. His entire career's spiral into the shitter is entirely his own fault. From not being able to stop saying the most awful things you can imagine during streams, to not being able to stop himself from posting the most private things about his life online, to not being able to stop himself from spending money on collectibles, a bunch of luxury items, terrible investments in like crypto, which he lost like $600,000 in. All of it is his own fucking fault. And when he talks about himself and like his health struggles and a lot of the other things that are personal to his like day-to-day life, he speaks as though it's already kaput. Andrew really summed it up best. When Boogie talks about himself, he talks about himself as if he's been dead for 30 years. When he speaks, he's speaking as if he's already 6 feet under in the grave, and he's like communicating as a force ghost, like, man, I wish I took better care of my body. That's something he speaks about in the documentary with his girlfriend, who's 29 years younger than him, and he starts to recognize that in 10 years, she's only going to be 30, and he might just be dead because of all the health problems he has from not taking care of himself. And he just speaks as though there's nothing he can do to fix it. He's just like, damn, I should have put more time into fixing my body a long time ago. You know, it's already over. When he can start now. He can still start doing that now. He can still fix his career now, work towards improving his career. But he just doesn't. He refuses to. He just speaks as though he's completely given up, which is another thing that becomes very clear in this documentary, where even though he feels this sense of entitlement, he feels as though he doesn't have to work towards anything. He just deserves all of these women. He deserves all of this money, all because at one point he was a very successful YouTuber. It's a fucking baffling and infuriating mentality to witness in this film. Now, the next thing I want to showcase here, and the last thing that I'm going to focus on in the video, is him getting another job, because YouTube has been collapsing on him, and the documentary filmmaker suggested maybe getting another job. It's also something everyone else in the world has suggested to him, getting a real job. And so he finally decides to go through with it and do like a mock interview to see if maybe he can find a position somewhere in the working world.
This is Dawn.
Dawn, I'm Boogie, or Steve.
Okay, what do you prefer to be called?
Honestly, probably Steve. Let's go with Steve.
Okay, Steve, no problem. Whatever you prefer. And so you are here today because you are seeking employment.
Yeah. I did work at a small gaming store back in 2006, 2007. I am disabled, recognized by the state of Arkansas, but also the United States government. There's that. Now, the downside of that is I am extremely depressed. So there's some mental health issues that we bring to the table. And then physically, I am morbidly obese. I have no references, no work history, and no education. And when you Google my name, you might see rumors that I beat my ex-wife and I'm also a pedophile. Should mention I'm also a felon.
When I first saw this clip, it wasn't in the documentary, it was floated around on Twitter. I thought it was just part of a skit. I was blown away. I was like, damn, Boogie's got some real acting chops now. He's really been hitting the thespian troupe out there training. I was like, damn, kind of a fire, comedy sketch. No. This is real. This is authentic. This is more real than my 3-point jump shot. This is actually how he conducted himself during this interview. Now, of course, this isn't a job interview per se. It's to try and help find him work. But he goes in here and just intentionally sabotages it. This is not as though he's really taking it seriously. He's taking the piss here, if you ask me. And that becomes extremely clear because after the fact, he says that he can't just get a real job or anything. He has 4 million YouTube subscribers. A job is beneath him. So I feel as though he went in here and just intentionally wasted her time and his time. It's in the time of the documentary filmmakers. Because this is just, no one would do this. To go in there and say shit like this, talking about if you Googled his name, you'd find out that he has rumors that he beat his wife or that he's a pedophile. Like, what the fuck?
Okay. What's the nature of your felony?
Aggravated assault.
How old is it?
About 2 years.
Okay. So I think there are some avenues you could explore. I definitely don't think it's impossible, but you have some challenges.
Yeah.
Lots of things in life are about your mindset. And you're using weight and disability. I can't. If that is the attitude that you're going to have when you approach everything, then you can't. And you won't.
I did work in the porn industry for the better part of 7 years. So, I mean...
Be real with me. Do you really think it would be a good idea to go to a real interview and reference porn?
It depended on the job, I would think.
I love that she immediately picked up on what everyone else on the internet has also picked up on over the years. She nails it immediately. His mentality is, I can't, just giving up on everything. That is how he's approached everything online, yet still feels a sense of entitlement where he shouldn't need to put a whole lot of effort into YouTube or anything. People should just be giving him money for existing. She picks up on that mindset right away. That's how clearly he wears this on his sleeve. It's his whole personality of just feel sorry for me, and here's the reasons why you should feel sorry for me. And it's super upsetting because it doesn't have to be that way. Again, he's still alive. He can fix things, work towards things, improve things if he wanted to, but he fucking refuses to. And when the lady does say, like, hey, look, it's not impossible, you do have some challenges, he decides to go even harder to make it even more difficult by saying, oh, I also worked in the porn industry. To which she's dumbfounded, like, would you really say that during a real interview? Because he's clearly just trying to ruin this. He doesn't want a real working job outside of YouTube or anything. And he makes that super clear with this phone call with this message he leaves the documentary filmmaker.
Violent crimes or sexual crimes have to be...
Hey, Mike. Listen, dude. I know we're making this documentary and everything, and I know you think I need to get a real job, but I just want to let you know I'm not going to. I'm not going to walk into some job when I have 4 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm one of the original YouTubers. What I'm going to do instead is go back to making content. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Good job. Yeah, so I mean, things aren't great. People are still mad at me on YouTube.
That fucking ego is infuriating. One of the OG YouTubers, I can't just get a fucking job. This is ridiculous. 4 million subscribers on YouTube. That's for plebeians, not for Boogie. At one point in this documentary, he mentions that he must have like covert narcissism or something, and he absolutely is a narcissist. 100%. Like, I'm not a medical professional or anything. Like, I can't actually diagnose it, but everything that is showcased in this documentary feels like it's narcissistic personality disorder. What's crazy is I haven't even touched on the saddest parts of the documentary. The bits and pieces I've loosely touched on in this video here don't even make up what I believe is the hardest to stomach portions of the documentary. Mike Klum and the team really did an incredible job with this piece. So again, if you're at all interested, check it out. No part of him that seems to actually want to change for the better. He just views it as he's already defeated, so he's just going to continue being self-destructive, I guess. When I don't understand it. There is still so much opportunity and time for him to actually improve his life, and over the last 5 or 6 years, he's talked about that a lot, about how he's going to do this, that, and get better at this and that, and he just doesn't. He just refuses to. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I just finished the documentary. We also talked about it on the podcast. That'll be up on the official YouTube channel sometime in the next couple days. It's just sad. It's just fucking unbelievably sad. Like many others, I was a fan of Boogie2988 years ago. And to see the mask fully come off and you get to actually see who he is as a person is shocking. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. So yeah. We've all been duped, bamboozled, smeckledorfed. Not even a word, yet it accurately describes this situation. We have been lied to. Another example that, no matter how convincing some things may appear on the internet, there's a very good chance it's somehow fake. This whole hoopla with Ruby Rose and the obsessed super fan who spent $60,000 on her OnlyFans in a month, and then had all of his text messages leak with Ruby Rose that were just completely unhinged, just lunacy. Turns out all of it was a coordinated marketing effort from an agency that worked in collaboration with Ruby Rose, as well as the man portraying Brandon. It's not real. It was all a ruse. And many of us, myself in a big way, fell for it hook, line, and sinker because, man, did they do a great job with it.
I didn't purchase none of her OnlyFans content.
Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was all a hoax?
I got in the situation where I just went and took a picture with Ruby Rose, right? Like,
okay.
I got paid for it. I didn't know exactly what it was for. You know, I think it was like a promo thing or something or whatever the fuck it was, you know?
I did, in my last video covering this, say that there is a chance that it was all staged because it was so over the top that it may have been used to drive traffic to Ruby Rose's OnlyFans. I at least had an inkling of a suspicion that that was possible, but I really didn't think anyone would ever agree to play the role that this guy did, the obsessed stalker porn addict. And after watching the interview where he blows the lid off of this, it seems he just didn't know the magnitude of it. They kind of kept him in the dark. And he even did get a real fucking tattoo of Ruby Rose's face that is now permanently on the back of his leg. Which, I mean, that's wild dedication. That's method acting that you won't find many classically trained thespians willing to partake in. So they really found a unicorn here with this guy. What a fucking champion to go through with something like that for the sake of driving money to someone that's not him. Now, before fully diving into this complex situation, I want to give a thanks to today's video sponsor. Big thanks to ROG Ally for sponsoring this video. As a fan of ROG, it was a match made in heaven when they asked if I'd be willing to partner with them for their ROG Holiday Advent Calendar, which includes 24 days of giveaways to share the ROG Ally with all of you. The gift of giving. And the ROG Ally can play pretty much every game since it runs Windows 11. It's fully compatible with Steam, Epic, Game Pass, GOG, and more. And it also has a 1080p 120Hz touchscreen panel, so you can tear up Fortnite OG, like absolutely run wild on it, like Matt most likely is behind me. It's lightweight, it's comfortable to hold, great battery life, which means it's easy to game anywhere, so it'll be great for the holidays. Now, ROG gave me a second ally to share with one of you, so all you have to do is comment hashtag 24 days of ROG, and the giveaway will be open for 7 days, and ROG will be announcing their winners on the Instagram page. For more details on the giveaway and to keep up with the 24 days of holiday giveaways, check out the ROG Advent Calendar in the link below. Happy holidays and good luck, and thanks again to ROG Ally for sponsoring. The interview dives into his lore and how he got this role here and how everything kind of played out behind the scenes. So I'm just going to show you a couple of clips from that, as well as explain what made this so much more believable than other attempts at similar things in the past.
And I met up with her. I take this picture. Next day, I'm like the fucking OnlyFans top spender. I knew there was like some kind of thing where there was like, had to do with the OnlyFans top spender shit, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So they made it look like I was her top spender, you know?
So he's saying that he was under the impression that he was just going to take this picture with Ruby Rose and they were going to use it for some kind of promo thing, and then he eventually found out that now all of a sudden he's the OnlyFans top spender, and now he's famous for being a porn-addicted weirdo creep, and he just didn't know exactly what he was getting into here. Now, something that's super interesting is that even though this guy is coming forward and saying that this was all a bunch of mumbo-jumbo, all a calculated marketing effort, there are still people that refuse to believe it. They're going so deep, and I think it's such a testament to the current landscape of the internet, where even when the truth is being revealed, like fully, people just want to live in a fantasy. So what people have concocted here is that all of this is actually the marketing stunt. This guy really did spend 60 grand and more on Ruby Rose, and he's embarrassed and ashamed of it, so he's lying. He's going on this press tour about it in order to try and clear his name. He really did spend all that money. He's lying. He's just trying to cover up his shame with this fairy tale, and I'm smart enough to not to fall for it with my galaxy brain. And I find that just so fascinating.
So they didn't fill you in on this beforehand? They didn't say, hey, we have this big idea. This is what we're going to do.
So the
we're
idea was like, they were like, we're going to use your, I mean, they kind of let me know that I was going to be like this, like one of her like subscribers, I guess, on OnlyFans or something like that, right? I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. You know, I didn't know it was going to blow up to this big, huge story. You know, they said it was going to be big. And then, you know, I was like, okay, cool. This is kind of cool, whatever the fuck. I was like, when's money going to start coming in? You know, like I was like, I want some money out of this.
So they gave him just like the very basic rundown without filling him in on exactly how everything was going to play out, and he was expecting to be paid for it, I guess, over time through this deal, and that clearly was never in the cards. He was literally used as like a whoopee cushion for the internet to fart with, like just someone to dunk on and get Ruby Rose's name out there even more. Now, in my last video where I covered this, I said, like, yes, it's possible, it could be fake, but what would be the gain? Why would you fake this? Not only from his perspective, like, why would you take this role, but from Ruby Rose's perspective, because I just can't imagine who sees this story and is like, oh, wow, this is inspiring. I need to donate money to Ruby Rose. Like, I don't see how that works. I don't know how you take this marketing campaign and turn it into new OnlyFans subscribers for Ruby Rose. I guess it must work to some extent, otherwise they wouldn't do it, and I'm sure she's made a lot of money from it, but I just don't really get that thought process. Who watches this porn addict, obsessed stalker fan who doesn't stop sending the creepiest text messages ChatGPT can cook up, and then they're like, maybe I need to try. So then they start sending money to Ruby Rose's OnlyFans because of it. Like, I don't really get it, which is why I didn't think that it was super likely that this was fake. But it was, clearly.
But how are you going to get paid for it? And you're saying that they didn't tell you beforehand that this was going to be the storyline?
Well, I knew there was this OnlyFans and like the person's the top spender, but I didn't know the story was going to come out to be bigger than what the story is now, you know? Like where I'm like the obsessive guy who's in love with her. And
so the $60,000 number was fake?
It's a real account, but it's not me.
So he's claiming that the account is real, it just isn't him that did that. Now that's a little interesting because I feel like it's probably just a fake account. Like, I don't think there's anybody out there that actually did genuinely send $60,000 to Ruby Rose. If the account is real and that money did get sent to her, I have no doubt it's her own money that was sent to her from her team. Someone on her team made an account and just sent 60 grand of her own money to her. And OnlyFans, of course, is going to take a cut, but I guess they were just going to chalk that up to a marketing expense. Like, if the account is real and it's not just a fake Photoshop screenshot or anything, or a faked video, then that's probably what happened. There isn't actually someone there that sent the 60 grand since it's not him.
What's the next thing that's going to happen? And then I did say we should like get some kind of tattoo going, like I'll get her name or something tattooed on me. I didn't think I was going to get a portrait.
Where's the portrait?
On the back of my leg.
Okay.
So now so first I'm the top spender, and then it comes out to me being, I didn't know I was a Bitcoin billionaire, I mean, I have some money, but I'm not like, what do I think's a good price for the tattoo? Now I was like saying 15 to 20K,
Now, he really did get an authentic tattoo of Ruby Rose's face firmly planted on his body. Now, he said he asked the team for at least like 15 to 20 grand for it, and then he went on to say like he has some weird tattoos, so it wasn't that big of a deal to him. He even said, like, down the line, if someone asks, he'll just say it was his ex-girlfriend or something. So he, I'm assuming, got paid for that tattoo. He then goes on to say that they never told him about the whole, like, crypto billionaire angle or anything like that. So he went to a weed shop and someone brought it up, and then it started to hit him like, okay, this is kind of a big deal now. So this is where the most important part comes up. To me, where it really sold me on this being a genuine case of a porn addict obsessed stalker that is sending unreal amounts of money to his fixation, Ruby Rose in this case. This is the most important piece of the puzzle. That true life episode with Brandon in it. The porn addiction episode.
But then also you were on True Life fucking porn addiction, and I was like,
yeah,
I was? And then I looked into that afterwards, but so
were you on True Life porn addiction, or because I saw that too? I saw that there was
like me, does it?
Oh, that wasn't you at all. I saw the picture and I just assumed that it was. Wow,
Yeah.
Is nothing real? Holy shit!
No, so I mean, so
this is the part that is just actually impressive to me because I would have never expected it. So what happened is after the Ruby Rose initial post with her top OnlyFans spender, there were some super sleuths online that were doing digging to try and find out more about this individual, because at the time he was like a fucking cryptid. This billionaire, wealthy porn addict that's sending all this money to Ruby Rose. This guy was up there with like fucking Slender Man, and people were trying to find out more about him. And then a post came and blew up that claimed that this person in the Ruby Rose photo, the #1 OnlyFans spender, is the same person from this True Life episode about porn addiction, and then showed a screenshot. And the guy in the screenshot from that episode, which is what aired in 2009, does look pretty similar to this guy here, if he was aged 14 years in the future. And I went and I watched that goddamn episode, and I really did think that this was the same individual. But it turns out it is apparently not. So, what this means is this team, Ruby Rose's team, planted that information there in order to sell the authenticity even further. This was one of the core components that convinced me that this was genuine, because you have this episode of a TV show from 2009. This isn't like a fake TV show or a fake screenshot or anything. This was a real episode of a show from 2009 with someone with a porn addiction that does resemble this guy, who is now apparently donating so much money to this OnlyFans creator. It was so thorough. Like, how would they even find someone that looked like him from a show in 2009 about porn addiction? It is the perfect fucking fit.
It was going to be, I didn't even know what was going on. And then I get the tattoo, and then it turns out to be, I'm like some obsessive like stalker guy named Brandon, which was the guy on True Life, where he was addicted to porn. And that's why like in the messages it says Brandon OnlyFan creep or some shit. I wake up, I see this post, and it's like the tattoo one, right? And then I'm like seeing all the text messages, and I'm like, I didn't even like read it. Like I seen some of it, and it seemed like it was really bad, so I like just turned my phone off.
I really can't express enough how much heavy lifting drawing that connection between this guy and that True Life episode from 2009 did for this narrative. It really did make it so much more convincing. Because as I mentioned in the last video, those text messages are so over the top that it almost does feel satirical. But because I was working under the impression that this was the same individual from the True Life episode. It really does track for someone with a mental illness like that, an obsession, a porn addiction. Like, it does check out. So it's... I'm still kind of stunned at the lengths they went to for this. Not because it's super hard to just, like, fake, you know, a story about, hey, my number one OnlyFans subscriber, and then, like, a fake screenshot of how much money they sent. And then even just, like, a flurry of text messages, you could easily whip that up super quickly. But what is very hard to do is find something that is old and real, the True Life episode, and connect it to something that's happening now. That is what makes it much more difficult. If that component with the True Life episode wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have fallen for this. That was the biggest thing by far. So yeah, wanted to give you the update here because, boy, we've been had with this one. This was a very well put together fucking OnlyFans promotional stunt, I guess. The guy does go on to say that he felt that the whole thing was just getting really weird now. Like, it doesn't seem like he's super happy about how everything played out. He doesn't like being known as this obsessive porn addict weirdo that's, you know, enamored with Ruby Rose to an unhealthy degree or anything. So he doesn't seem really happy about any of it either. But I know who is happy. Ruby Rose and her whole team for this one. They're shaking each other's hands, popping champagne, and going fucking crazy together, I bet. So that's about it. So yeah. We're in a very perplexing pickle here, because I'm the gladiator of goofiness, the savant of silly, so anytime there's a weird situation that's a bit wacky, people update me on it, and usually I'll giggle about it, maybe I'll make something covering it. But now, today, there's something that a lot of people seem to think is a really humorous, silly situation, when I don't view it that way at all. In fact, I view it as an extremely sad, distressing situation. It's everything that's been happening with FouseyTube. If you're like me with gray hairs in your beard, that name might ring a little bell in your cobweb-covered brain because it's a name that's as old as YouTube itself, really. He was around a long time ago doing pranks and all kinds of shit, and he was a big name back then. But he had a mental health meltdown that kind of caused him to step away from content creation for a while to work on himself and try and better his actual life away from the internet. And now he's come back as an IRL live streamer, broadcasting pretty much every waking moment of his life on camera. And it is probably the worst thing that could have possibly happened to him. His streams blew up. He got all of the clout he'd ever dreamed of. And he immediately became corrupted and poisoned by it. His broadcast went from the beginning being pretty wholesome and community-driven, like fun stuff from what I recall when he first came back. It was actually kind of cool to root for like an OG YouTuber stepping into a different ballpark, and he seemed like he was in a much better headspace. But then his numbers kept going up. And as those numbers kept climbing, so too did his ego, until he reached his absolute boiling point and crossed the event horizon of maximal douchebaggery. He became his own worst enemy. He would insult people if they were poor. His main insult was about people's financial status and well-being. He became completely corrupted by clout. He was like Gollum, with the One Ring ruining his mind. That was FouseyTube's precious attention. And as his mental health deteriorated, his online presence was only bolstered. People kept tuning in to see what wild thing was going to happen next. What kind of incredible, loud rant is Fousey going to go on next? Just encouraging this downward spiral as people shoved popcorn in their face gluttonously, consuming a man's mental health meltdown on stream. And it really started reaching its boiling point about 2 weeks ago. While on stream, FouseyTube was at an airport and met a woman, and she was very clearly super drunk. She was hammered. And the two got to talking, and eventually she revealed that she was actually the victim of human trafficking at one point in her life. And how did FouseyTube respond to that information? By apparently having sex with her in the airport bathroom. He came back on stream after like a 10-minute break, giddy, and he was saying about how he just joined the Mile High Club. Well, not exactly the Mile High Club because they were still at the airport, but you know, we just fucking boinked in the toilets over there. And he was so pleased, and then his community turned on him. They were like, wow, that's actually extremely fucked up. She's super drunk And she also just confided in you that she was the victim of human trafficking. How could you have done this, Fousey? You just took advantage of this woman. This is really degenerate, unforgivable shit. So then he very quickly tried to like play it off as a joke, and he wasn't being serious. Like, haha, no, haha, that not real, didn't actually happen. Ha, you guys fell for a timeless classic prank. Get pranked, epic style prank, not real, didn't actually do that. When it seems like that's exactly what happened, and this is like Twitter in a nutshell with absolute unhinged lunacy. I did see some people defending this by saying, yeah, but he also raised money for her, so he should have been allowed to have sex with her anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. What they're referring to is he asked his community to donate to her, and they raised like $2,500 for her. And that's apparently an excuse for having sex with an extremely drunk woman who also had just confided in you that she was the victim of human trafficking at some point. It's so alarming seeing people try and rationalize and justify it. That is concerning. Like, that is just downright fucking alarming. But anyway, FouseyTube did face backlash for that, but it actually only made him even more popular because it put FouseyTube's mental health on a bigger stage for more people to see. So more spectators funneled in to watch the train wreck unfold every single day, because he was broadcasting fucking 24/7 basically. A lot of people just kept coming in to point and laugh at the freak show. Look at this crazy guy doing crazy shit. Everyone come watch and laugh at this guy as he broadcasts a very serious mental illness, and as it continues to only get worse. Ha ha. And last night, he ended up getting arrested on stream. I don't even know where to begin with this stream. I actually watched like the last 2 hours of it because even before that, things were looking really bad. FouseyTube had assaulted 2 people earlier in the stream last night after they had only lightly bruised his ego over very minor things. He had been yelling and insulting a ton of people. It was looking really bad. He legitimately looked like he was a danger to not only himself, but others. There was also some unlovable, kissless, virgin, loser, turbo, insufferable asshole troll that was calling and harassing FouseyTube's family and threatening their life, threatening his life, which of course only continued to push Fousey down this path. The troll was like threatening his family, threatening Fousey, which only made everything significantly worse, obviously. He ended up getting kicked out of an Airbnb and then checking into a hotel where he had a manic episode again and ended up calling the police. And he basically swatted himself.
The fucking questions, send the fucking cops. Send the cops. There's a gun to my head right now. There's a gun to my head. Help, ma'am, he left. Ma'am, he left. There's a gun to my head. Help, get them. Help, bye. Ma'am, Intercontinental, what's my room number? Help, tell me. 2020.
He spent like the last 45 minutes of the stream in a panicked, manic state where he was very afraid of that troll who was making threats against his family and himself. And he ended up calling the police, hoping that they could go arrest him and take him away to try and, fix this whole situation. And it was only made worse because the troll kept pushing him. Like earlier in the stream, Fousey had apparently like fallen in love with this girl and she had like broke up with him, and the troll took credit for it, claiming that he had actually planted that girl there so Fousey would fall in love with her and then she'd break his heart. So he mentions that multiple times in the last 45 minutes because he truly believed that that girl he met was a fucking plant from this troll who's controlling every aspect of his life now. Even the girl he had fallen in love with was actually on the troll's payroll working for him in order to hurt Fousey. So it was this just very, very sad thing to watch unfold. And the police respond, obviously. He called them and said that, his life was in danger. There was a fucking gun to his head. So the police do actually show up.
He's a stalker.
Okay, and who is this guy?
I don't fucking know.
So how do you want us to look for him if you don't know where he is?
I have his address.
What is his address?
I said grab my security 20 minutes ago.
Alright, listen.
You guys are dumb as fuck, man. You guys are literally dumb as fuck.
There's conflicting information on if it's an actual arrest or if they're just detaining him because he is having this mental health episode. He was yelling and screaming at them and saying a bunch of things that obviously didn't make much sense. So, because he was so irate and so deeply disturbed, it seems like the cops arrested him and detained him. And I truly believe that that was actually for the best. I think if this stream continued, he would have ended up hurting himself or somebody. He was in a very intense, very manic state that could have ended very poorly. I watched this all happen live in real time, and there was nothing entertaining about it. People were losing their mind about how entertaining it was. W-stream, this shit is amazing. Because there's such a disconnect from the internet, like the normal internet spectator live stream viewer, and reality. What you are watching is a very real person. FouseyTube is a real human being having an actual mental health breakdown. A complete collapse of mental health. And people are just celebrating it and can't wait for him to come back and are praying that he doesn't take medication. He also mentioned during his stream that he hasn't been taking any of his mental health medication for the last 2 days, and he had apparently not slept for 2 days either, and people love it. People can't wait for more of it, and I just find that so fucking sad. I really do. I don't think there's anything goofy about it. Fousey is unfortunately not only being encouraged by his audience that's treating him like some kind of circus show, he's also being encouraged by other streamers in the real world that keep patting him on the ass and pushing him to keep doing this kind of shit. He is surrounded by parasites, these fucking leeches that are latching on to Fousey's ass like a goddamn hemorrhoid in order to suckle some clout out from under him. So he's blown up from all of this. So a lot of other streamers have started trying to be all buddy-buddy with him, like, hey, we're such good pals, Fousey, you're doing great, let me in your content. So they keep forcing themselves into Fousey's life so they can broadcast themselves to promote themselves through him, without ever actually caring about him as a friend. No one is actually helping him get what he needs. He is clearly going through a legitimate mental health crisis. Fousey has been very open and honest in the past about the mental health struggles that he has. He has legitimate mental illness. And nobody around him seems to care. They only care that he keeps bringing in big numbers, which help them. There was a moment right before he was arrested where Aiden Ross called him and told him to, like, calm down and go to sleep. And that is more than a lot of other people in his life have done for him, but that is still, like, the bare minimum. Like, that is, like, very easy to do stuff. That's not help Fousey needs. What he needs is someone that's willing to do the hard stuff. Turn his fucking stream off. Take his phone away. Take his camera away. He needs to be disconnected from the internet, and he actually needs legitimate professional help. That's the hard thing that no one's willing to do, but it's what he needs. That is 100% the only thing that will help him, but no one does it. Like, again, there are a couple people, it wasn't just Aiden, that are like, hey, Fousey, just calm down, go to bed, it's not that big of a deal. But he's not going to do that. He is in a actual manic state. He's not just going to stop and go to sleep because you asked him nicely. You need someone that is actually caring about him to take all of that away and get him to where he needs to go, to a professional. And also, a lot of other people pointed this out too. The platforms can also do something. Kick could have absolutely suspended the stream. They could have, and that would have been an invaluable help to him. But they don't, because he brings in so many viewers and so much attention, and that's what the world seems to run on these days. So all the people in his life and everything and everyone around him is just a yes man that encourages this destructive behavior. And it's only going to get worse if he's allowed to keep doing this without anyone actually stepping up to help him. I think it is fucking tragic. So I don't think it's goofy. I don't think it's silly. I wanted to briefly talk about it because I keep getting asked about it because so many people seem to think that it is goofy and silly. And I just completely disagree. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's really about it. So yeah. You gonna watch Sandman? Why do people keep bringing up Sandman? That trailer looked horrible. Did it come out or something? Jealous Women. Jealous Women, what's that? I have no idea. Men Going Their Own Way is what MG Tao stands for. MG Tao Guide to Retiring on 200K in Southeast Asia. Alright, this really piqued my interest.
I found your thoughts on the struggle between Alpha, Beta, and Sigma personalities very interesting.
Whoa, what a start. Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. That actually sounds like the Joker.
And consistent with my experience. That aside, what are your thoughts on female jealousy towards men?
This kind of content is poppin'. Like men motivational shit and like Alpha, Beta, Sigma, the astrology for men stuff. Like this shit is blowing up.
Yes, many women are jealous of the successful independent man. What makes him even more attractive to them in a sick and twisted way is that they're happy for him and jealous of him at the same time.
Oh boy.
They want to be with him, but they also want to destroy him simultaneously because they're jealous of him.
Oh
If
god,
you're
they're after
successfully
us.
single, she will see your peace of mind and get jealous that your attention is being given to something other than a woman. Women are also the most logical and rational when they are with a man. You're whole on your own, and she wants to make you unwhole, and in the process, she makes herself whole by getting you in her hole. Many women I've known
What
have
is
also seemingly
happening?
taken great satisfaction.
I would wager a guess the women he's known can be counted on one hand. Why is he talking like he's some kind of professor giving a lecture in front of a high school class?
I think there's also another part of them that knows they'll never be able to do, experience, or even achieve as much as we do if we're single and not tied down to a woman.
A woman could never achieve what I do, talking about women on YouTube, acting like I'm the authority and the expert. A woman couldn't do that. They don't have the brain capabilities that Sandman does. They're just not to his intellectual level.
That's why you hear BS statements like, behind every great man is an even greater woman. If we achieve greatness, then we can't even take credit for it, because it's the guy's mother that raised him into the man he is today, or his wife or girlfriend supporting him that made him great to begin with. They can't accept the fact
What
that they
am I
didn't
listening
actually
to?
have part in making something that's great. Of course, a guy that goes his own way for many years and sees one success multiply on top of another, when women aren't in his life, will figure out that behind every strong, successful man is free time away from women.
Oh, I see. Okay. So the lesson is get away from women, because they'll drag you down. They'll hinder you from reaching your optimal efficiency. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes... I don't even... Why even make a video on that lesson? The whole audience is people that don't have women around them. Is it like reaffirmation that it's good? Like, hey, it's good to be alone. I guess.
But let me first tell everyone about today's sponsor, the MGTOW Book Collection Part 2. Whether you're getting camel toe in Cambodia, banging babes in burqas in Turkey, or
God.
taking Polaroids of ladyboys in Thailand, Luca Vendetti has a series of books to make you live the dream.
Oh
in
my
addition to
Lord.
his classic, How to Retire on $200K in Southeast Asia.
This is so fucking sad. Oh my god, what did the comments say? I mean, hey, it's a good hustle. Good for Sandman. 200K just appealing to the sad guys down here. Good on him. Though I don't know if I'd ever call him a bro. This guy sounds like he's the leader of the anime club. Like, he wouldn't be my definition of, like, a bro, just by the sound of him.
Sponsor link is down below. Anyways, now back to spiteful, jealous women putting up roadblocks in your life because you don't have a wife.
He sounds like this guy. Do you guys remember the old Jelly Belly guy? Jelly Belly. That guy? What was it? Jelly, the Jelly Rat guy. What the fuck was Jelly Rat? I think it was. Yeah, Jelly Belly Pet Rat.
Hello, nice to run for the QB.
So I'm guessing this guy went from this to talking about why it's good to not be around women. Like, it was your decision. You don't want women, which is why you don't have women, I guess.
That men, simply because they are men, have things like old boys clubs and other secret support networks to help them make it in life. Instead of being just...
This is to all the men in the secret support networks. If you're paying to be a part of that network, it's a bad network. Like, that's not a network. That you got scammed. Yeah, if your support network is charging you for being single books or whatever, you fucked up. Time to leave that network. No such thing.
Back in early 2014, when my channel was growing quickly and would become the biggest channel in MGTOW, people attacked me, even though for the majority of men I was providing some value. Jealousy also has a lot to do with dominance hierarchies. People are like crabs in the bucket. They always want to bring others down to their level. Why do you think that women are against every group of men in the manosphere seeking out freedom from women?
The
They want us in
manosphere.
relationships or chasing relationships.
That's so cute.
Which would be the equivalent of a crab that's free looking for a bucket to fall into, where he would be held down. They attack us through things like demonetization, throttling, and shaming language. Again, it's not just women, but also gamma males that infest the tech companies.
Ooh, wait, what is a gamma male? That's a new one. I haven't kept up with the astrological signs in the men going their own way community for a little bit. What's the gamma male? What do they do? Give me a rundown of that species. The Hulk? No, the way he used it, it wouldn't be about the Hulk. It'd be like I guess like a tech guy? A nerd, perhaps? I don't know. Suck their own dick on a daily basis? Well, wouldn't Sandman be a gamma then, if that's the definition? He literally just sucked his own cock, talking about how he was providing value and didn't understand why he was getting hate. Gamma male is one step down from the omega male. Oh, okay. So it's like a pre-digi evolution of the omega male. Okay, I gotcha. So diet omega. Alright, thank you. That makes sense. That actually would make sense. That's wrong? Oh, that's not right? When was there an Omega Male? Omega Male was introduced like 2 seasons ago. That was like 2021, early 2021. It's below Alpha and Beta, but above Delta. I don't know the Delta males. Now I think you're making terms up. Sandman's the expert, so he used Gamma. It must be an established scientific kingdom for some men to fall into. From what I understand, Gamma males are bottom feeders who don't try and improve their life. You know what? I'm going to accept that definition. I don't know if it's correct, but I'm going to work under that assumption. It would fit into the context he used it here.
That look at men out there that are successful and more happy than they are, and they basically think they need to be humbled and beaten down in life, the way they have. Even the alpha, betas, and deltas are jealous because sigma males are free to do whatever they want with zero sense of self-consciousness. So they will try and take you down a few pegs so they feel better about themselves. The jealous types are constantly stuck having to calculate their rank in the social hierarchy constantly, thus comparing themselves to others instead of just doing what's right for themselves. If you want to avoid these sorts
What
of
is this
things,
picture supposed to be? I don't get it. She's dangling a spaghetti noodle? Does this trigger something in the Sigma male brain? Like, I want the noodle? I'm mad about the noodle? I don't know what this means. Maybe I'm a gamma male. I don't get it. What? Can someone break this? Can they break this down for me? It's hair? That's the thickest hair of all time. So is it another woman's hair and she's accusing him of cheating? But he's explaining, babe, I'm not cheating, I'm a Sigma male?
Because after 5 to 10 years of financial freedom, your self-confidence goes up, and you want to share your experiences with like-minded people. Plus, if you do things like travel on epic trips, people might hear of them and wonder how you can afford them.
I do love traveling on epic trips. Can't have a girl with me.
They realize that you're hiding your
Fucking
status.
weighs me down.
When I would film travel videos on my Cool Buildings channel, I would go to locations and ask to do interviews and film some cutaways. First women, they didn't care when the channel was brand new. And not so...
God damn it, now I have to see that channel. He has his own channel travel for Cool Buildings? What does that even mean? Wow, for someone that's all about, like, you don't need women, it's all about being big man, he follows Dua Lipa immediately. That's not alpha stuff. I like Dua Lipa, but I'm not an alpha. Where's your travel channel? This is just a casual reminder not to go harass this channel, or any channel I ever talk about. If you do that, you're a piece of shit. I don't condone it. Don't do it. Single mothers wrecking soy-ciety. That is pretty fucking awesome. Jesus Christ. Do men going their own way need to leave the West behind? The great exodus of the gamma males and sigmas. Oh boy. Oh goodness. The Bible foretold of that. Oh, here we go. Sandman 2. Well, that didn't work.
But once the channel was up and running and filled with dozens of locations, and they saw the places I traveled to in the past, they started becoming less accommodating. Unless it was one of the ones that were doing it because they were either desperate for their location needing publicity, or they were just attention whores. Many of the younger women I asked at such locations, they were seemingly jealous of the places I visited because they were usually working second or third rate tourist attractions and were probably not thrilled that I was free to travel about and they weren't.
What is that thought process? They were jealous of my epic travels. So when they saw how much I traveled, they started treating me like shit because they were jealous of my epic travels. Good lord. I want to see that channel. What? How epic are these travels? Did you go to the moon? Like, how cool could it possibly be? I'm just gonna go ahead and squash this theory right now, Sandman. I can't find your channel after desperately searching for it because you didn't even link it properly. I don't think the women or anyone else around you is that jealous. I don't think they've seen it. Traveling my own way.
Hi everyone,
Alone.
Sandman here.
The
Welcome
way
to
I
my
like
Traveling
it.
My Own Way series, where I actually thought I'd be sharing with everyone my daily breakdown for my trip out west. This is the first part of 16 videos of my solo road trip from May the 3rd all the way to the 19th.
What is it? Solo, I can't believe it.
These videos are in addition to my daily dose of red pills, and I'm actually labeled them
God.
TMOW,
Oh,
or
God.
Traveling My Own Way, next to them on the channel.
My
If you don't
daily
like them,
dose
then you
of
don't have to
red
watch
pills.
them.
Fuck
I'm
me.
basically doing this as an experiment to see.
I see why they'd be jealous now. That was fucking nuts.
So
I'm
they
jealous.
basically put up passive-aggressive roadblocks. Jealous women will try and sabotage your business,
Mhm.
and once you've dealt with enough of them, you start to learn how to act.
And you've
just
dealt with
accept
too
it
many, I'd
and
say.
work around them.
Women just
Some
can't
people
stop.
are jealous that I haven't had a real technical job in my entire life, and have basically made my own way. They don't see the triumph and victory snatched away by some snatch on YouTube demonetizing my channel.
Right.
I've shown women my travel
course.
videos, and they look at me and think I'm poor. And then they ask me how can I afford to travel because I don't have a full-time job.
Let me pump the brakes a little bit. You show women your travel videos. Hey, harlot, come here. Look at my phone. This is my Traveling My Own Way series. Look, I went to Las Vegas here. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. This is my way. This was a solo trip to... Look at this. I stayed at the, this resort with a pool. Okay. Oh, jealous. Okay. Yep. Walking away. She's jealous. Of course. Yep. She can't handle a man without a... Oh, boy. Oh, goodness. Not again.
The reason they're envious or jealous and suffering is because it all comes back down to hierarchy.
Oh,
Most
boy.
people want to be on
Oh,
top of it
God.
and hoard all the best experiences and physical goods for themselves.
This is the worst part about it. I have no doubt in my mind this guy could have been in a relationship. But he got so lost in this sauce, he made it his entire identity, and now does nothing but repulse women. Like, he just talked about how he shows them his travel videos. Like, it's just one of those things, man. They don't realize they're their own worst enemy. Hearing these things keeps you locked in this endless cycle and spending money on the How to Retire on 200K in Southeast Asia Men Going Their Own Way guide. Fucking rough. Tragic, even.
Look no further at women's jealousy of men than the makeup and clothing industries.
Oh,
in
God.
almost all species, the male is the more physically attractive half.
Oh, no.
But with humans, the women use whatever needs necessary to make themselves more visually appealing, because they're probably jealous of men's natural good looks, without makeup and bright-colored clothing.
Just be gay then, man. Like, you don't have to put up this front. Just be gay. Like, you don't have to go on this, like, men are so much better without women. I don't like women. Women fucking suck. They're always jealous of my travel videos. Just be gay. Like, it's not that hard. Like, embrace it. This guy is just battling insecurity, like, his entire fucking life. He's been doing this since 2014. Oh my god.
That's the point our species has gone to. The men provide women financial resources to attempt to outdo us when it comes to attraction. Men invented bras to keep the girls on their chest from sagging to their knees too quickly. Go to the zoo and see the great apes, and you'll basically be drawn to the male ones, because they look better. The female ones just look too...
What? What? There's no way I heard that correctly. I just didn't hear that right. There's no way.
Their chest from sagging to their knees too quickly. Go to the zoo and see the great apes, and you'll basically be drawn to the male ones, because they look better. The female ones just look too damn plain.
Bro, this guy needs to be on a list. Go to the zoo and check out the great apes. You'll like the male ones. Dude goes to the zoo to look at animals sexually? What is wrong with you?
that they want to turn themselves into men with their actions, careers, and experiences. Is that jealousy coming out, or is it just part of the female chameleon routine? I'll let you decide. They also want to compete with the men at the top of the male hierarchy, and only really want the alpha males and their lieutenants to partner with. Most of the deltas, gammas, and omegas are of no interest to them. They also want the sigmas because they're...
I owe an apology to the guy in chat who brought up delta males earlier. I thought you were making the term up. I guess it's a real one. Sorry, you were right. I guess I might be too behind on the times here. I didn't know delta males got brought into the equation.
Jealous of our independence and lack of dependence from the validation of others. Thanks again to Cam for the donation as well as topic. Don't forget to smash the like button the way that women love when you smash them, because it means you'll also smash your hopes and dreams to smithereens. Bang the bell and check out the mystery link. Follow me on BitChute, Twitter, and Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on Minds.
I have to be mishearing this guy.
To get the video for the day after tomorrow. Description. Or you can do an hour-long coaching chat with the Sandman for $45 US.
An hour-long coaching session. Oh my god. 40... Oh boy. Oh my fucking god. Oh, that's painful just to listen to. Don't forget to smash that like button, just like women like when you smash them, and also smash your hopes and dreams to smithereens. So that tells me a lot of things. He's never had sex, so he tries to shame anyone that has, trying to frame it as a terrible thing to have sex. And yet he's trying to be the Sigma male leader of the men going their own way movement. Like, this guy is nothing but like red flags. Wow. I am not booking a fucking coaching session with this guy. That'd be the worst $45 I ever spent in my life. It wouldn't even be entertaining. I just feel bad. I would legitimately feel bad. At the end of the day, it's not like I hate this guy. I don't. I feel fucking bad for him. My heart breaks for people like this. This is clearly a guy who was a young man back in 2013, 2014, and found this men going their own way movement, which was big back then in the R red pill section, and being lonely and desperate really bought into it and has paid hand over fist for the books, and now just regurgitates everything that he thought was the truth. So he's caught in this endless loop of being a perpetually miserable, sad, lonely guy. Like, I just think it's fucking sad. This has been one of the most pathetic men going their own way lectures I've ever seen. I'll give him credit, though. He's using his actual voice as opposed to text-to-speech like all the other ones, so...
Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills, and remember, a red pill a day keeps the women that hate successful men so much that they want to take away that success by sleeping with them and having sex with them away. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh my god.
And cheers.
Again, that tells me he's never had sex, so he continues to vilify it. Is he like a public virgin? Like, he publicly has mentioned being a virgin? I imagine he has. Like, there's no way he hasn't, right? Because it's pretty obvious. I'm not using it as an insult. Like, he is very obviously making it clear that he has not had sex. So that is why he continues to shame those that have.
Dear Sandman, this donation is a big thank you for your video called The Cock Carousel. Your video gave me an argument to throw in the faces of people. The thing is, almost no man cares about that. And why do females shame me all the time for not jumping around in the haystack? What's your thought about this?
That immediately tells me he wrote this. What lady is going to say, jumping around in the haystack? That's in men going their own way term. He absolutely wrote this himself.
I don't have any children, but if I had a daughter, and it was you, Lady D, then this is what I would tell you. At this point in your life, you've been with maybe 1 or 2 men tops, and you still have the ability to bond with a man. Those women that are telling you to be promiscuous have lost that ability in themselves,
it's gone.
most likely.
Yeah, it's gone.
And they're emotionally damaged beyond repair. And now they're shaming you for being a virgin. You're probably laughing to yourself and thinking, that's absolutely impossible. But it's not true, because I'm living proof that guys like that exist. Every woman that I've ever slept with ended up pressuring me to be with her because she probably felt insecure about herself in the first place.
No, they fucking didn't. Okay, so he's not even being honest with his subscribers. Okay. I was hoping this was going to be like a heart-to-heart, like, well, Lady D, I myself am a virgin, but he's very clearly still putting up this front. Okay. What a wild rabbit hole. All from looking up a Netflix show that I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like in the first place. I know I'm tardy to the party with this subject, and I'm sure you've already seen it by now since it happened a few days ago, but just like Game of Thrones Season 8, it just keeps getting worse. It's the Act Man situation, Act Man vs. YouTube. The Act Man is a large YouTuber who recently posted an hour-long video, basically an ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, on another YouTube channel going over all the awful things that they've done or said in their time on the internet. And as a result of posting this video, he received a strike. YouTube took it down due to nudity and sexual content because of a poorly photoshopped cucumber next to the person's mouth who the video was about. That seems like a pretty drastic over-enforcement of the rule. If they really found it to be highly sexual, it should have just resulted in limited ads as opposed to a full strike on the channel. Like, I've eaten a banana in a video before, and now I'm starting to sweat. Like, what might happen to me? It just really felt like one of those moments that was a full-blown mistake, and we've seen it a million times in the past, where the YouTube bots controlled by Skynet malfunction and issue a strike at random by accident, and then it's overturned shortly thereafter. However, the appeal was rejected within, I believe, 30 minutes of the Act Man submitting it, a manual rejection, which means someone with a pulse supposedly looked at it and still said, yep, that shit's staying off the platform. We're putting the kibosh on it right now. So then it became a little bit fishier. Why? The reasoning just doesn't make any sense. It's not like he uploaded Mr. Hands or 2 Girls 1 Cup in his video. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of an hour-long video that had something that is slightly sexual and by all definitions pretty inoffensive. Almost no one's gonna look at that and be like, holy shit, cover your eyes. Oh my lord, he's going too hard. He's going hog wild out there. It's just not the most sexually explicit thing in the world. Even if they're going full Weenie Hut Jr. mode here, it's still pretty tame by those definitions. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I also think this highlights another shortcoming YouTube's had since the beginning of time, where if a single minuscule piece of a video is a problem, they strike the whole video, they take the whole thing down, instead of just letting you yourself remove that piece, that insignificant little piece, that 2 or 3 second little problem zit. Why not just let the creator pop it? YouTube has a built-in editor where you can take things out. So why not just alert the channel like, hey, the video's fine, but there's this one part that's a problem. If you want to keep it in, it's going to get age restricted or you're going to get a strike, but you can take it out and nothing will happen. We're letting you know you have 1 week to take it out. Every single channel would elect to take it out. Like in Act Man's case, if they just told him the cucumber Photoshop thing is a problem, I'm certain he would have used the editor to just take it out of the video. Problem solved, and then there's no issue. And that saves YouTube a lot of trouble as well, because that completely avoids the ensuing shitstorm. Why not just let us use the editor to take out the problem? It's something that I also pitched to Susan, the CEO of YouTube, when I talked to her, and she thought it was a great idea, as did the policy head. That was 2 years ago. When is it coming? But anyway, in his anger, he turned to the dark side and committed the sin that every YouTuber is guilty of. He went to Twitter to start a shitstorm, to finally force a real answer out of YouTube, to finally get an actual response and real action from the company. But unfortunately for Act Man, he ended up with YouTube's cucumber in his mouth. They responded to this by age restricting 2 videos of his that were completely unrelated, and then just hitting the speedrun any % record for appeal rejections by slapping it down in 30 minutes. So, needless to say, the Twitter action wasn't super effective for Act Man, but this was only the beginning. Because as of 2 hours ago, YouTube wasn't done huffing and puffing, they blew his whole house down. They demonetized Act Man's entire channel, leaving him ineligible for future monetization. This is essentially being fired from his job, all without ever getting a single explanation as to why. It just happened. So this seems like a complete failure on YouTube's part here, and everything that resulted after the initial strike was done in pure pettiness. There's one more thing I'd like to talk about, and it's a little unrelated to the exact Ackman situation, but it has to do with the way YouTubers get YouTube's attention directly. As you've noticed throughout the entire history of YouTube, every time there's a problem, people go to Twitter to talk about it, and vent about it, and tag YouTube in it. And the reason for that is because for most channels, that's the only means of getting a response from the company. Do you know how fucking pathetic that is? To have people like Ackman, who are essentially employees, having to go on Twitter and publicly whine about their boss? That's so demoralizing. Having to grovel at their feet, cry and beg for just a little scrap of information as to what's going on and if they can lend a little hand to fix a problem. That is just the worst system of all time. But that's the only way most YouTubers have any access to the company, and it seems to be the only efficient way of getting things solved. And I'm guilty of doing it too. I've gone on Twitter to take a fat dump Baruski on YouTube for something they fucked up on, because I try every other alternative going through all of the proper YouTube channels, but it never leads to solutions. The only thing that does is by making a big hubbub on Twitter about it. It's just so pathetic. No YouTuber or anyone wants to be publicly whining on Twitter about a problem. They want it to be fixed behind the scenes, and YouTube shouldn't want it to be a big problem on Twitter either. The Ackman shit has been trending for like 12 hours now. It's like the #1 trend in the world. And it's bad for YouTube, but he's tried everything else. He's been talking to his partner manager, whom I'm just going to say seems like has no power in this situation, which is about par for the course because a lot of times partner managers have absolutely no ability to solve problems. They're fundamentally just hall monitors for the principal, but don't actually have any level of power, unfortunately, though I do believe they should, because every partner manager I've ever known at YouTube is a great person, really on the side of creators, but their hands are tied with what they're given from the company and how to handle problems. So the only thing YouTubers can do is once they exhaust their partner manager, if they even have one, and once they exhaust all the official channels, all they can do, the only thing left, is to make a big deal about it on Twitter. And it sucks. It sucks for YouTube because they look like shit, per usual. And it sucks for the creator because no one wants to just be publicly, making a big scene about shit that should be private. It's just so frustrating that it's been like this for years with no signs of changing. They need to improve the communication. When I had a conversation with Susan, this was one of the things I brought up, and I was told that they're working on making that better. That's been 2 years now, and it's still the same. And unfortunately, in Ackman's case, it backfired on him because YouTube got upset about it and started really blasting his whole channel over the issue. Even though they only had a problem with one video, for some reason they extended it to his entire channel, which seems to be purely done out of spite. Regardless of how you feel about Ackman or Ackman's video that started all of this, I believe everyone can agree that the strike is utter bullshit. There is no grounds for nudity and sexual content strike here. And there's even less reasonable explanation for why 2 completely unrelated videos got age restricted shortly after this problem was brought to Twitter. And there's absolutely zero reason for why his whole channel was then demonetized afterward. All of this completely unrelated from that first video. It seems like a complete fuck up from YouTube and an utter failure to enforce their policies properly. And I'm pretty confident they will overturn this. I really do think they will. I think at some point it'll go up the right chain and the right people and they'll realize that all of this was a big mistake and they'll overturn it. But they need to not only accept responsibility, but improve the system that keeps failing the platform. There's no reason, again, why YouTubers have only one course of action, which is to go to Twitter. Partner managers need more power to fix things. There's just no downsides to giving partner managers more power. Legitimately, only good things can come from that. It's not like it's gonna birth Dr. Doom. There's not gonna be some rogue YouTube employee partner manager who just becomes a supervillain and, uploads Goatsy on everyone's channel or some shit. If a partner manager has more power and can actually solve problems like Ackman's here, which would only take a couple of seconds to recognize that this is an over-enforcement of their policy and a mistake, then that whole problem gets shut down immediately, and it never makes it as far as this one has in the public eye, where now it's a huge thing on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch. A lot of people talking about it on Twitch too, because it's such a big, wide-ranging issue. None of that happens if a partner manager can just solve it themselves. But unfortunately, we don't live in that utopia. We're fucking condemned to this dystopian Narnia where YouTube has this archaic, awful system in place that nothing ever gets solved unless there's an absolutely massive public backlash against the company. So now everyone sees how stupid YouTube looks and how mismanaged and dysfunctional these systems are, and it's a bad look for the platform. It's bad for creators, and it's bad for the platform that there is no actual way of solving problems privately. It has to be done publicly in the public eye on Twitter in order for things to get solved on YouTube. That's so silly. Give YouTube partner managers more power to fix problems, and you solve a lot of reputational damage to YouTube. They can avoid so much conflict in the future if they just give those partner managers the ability to fix things. Everything that's happened to the Act Man this week is absolutely terrible. It's awful, but I am confident it's going to get overturned and fixed. But it's still extremely embarrassing for the platform as a whole that the only way these things get fixed is when there's a big enough public backlash for it. There just needs to be a better system in place, or this is going to keep happening forever, as it has been for the last decade. Just fucking fix the problem. Partner managers really do everything they can to help their partners on the platform, but they just don't have many tools of helping. Give them those tools, and you will stop issues like this. That's about it. That's about it. See ya.